Make your digital art stand out with Artisan textures is our topic today on Luminar Coffee Break. Now, this episode is going to take a little bit more than 10 minutes or less, but it's going to be very creative. Let's get into it. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So we do have a live crew watching this right now with our Skylum insiders, and one of them is Carly Sullins, who is one of the ambassadors and just incredible artists that I used her textures with this along with Anthony and a few others, which I'll show you a little bit on into it. So I'm going to just dive right in. This lesson is going to be more about not just about the creativity side of what we're going to be doing, but I'm also going to show you how to use layers, layer blend modes, masking, and then just how to get really creative. Oh, there we go. How to get a little creative with what we're doing. So here's the image that we're going to turn this image into. Ready? So we're going to start with, let me get to it. There we go. We're going to start with this image here. Okay, it's it was shot on a dull day. The photographer, Tim Mosholder from Unsplash, did a very good job on it. But imagine converting it into this. Now, what I'm envisioning is this in a beautiful 16 by 9 or maybe even a 16 by 20 print on metal or on metallic paper hanging behind your couch. I just think it would look incredible, especially if you want to give it for a Christmas gift. So let me show you how we're going to create this, all right? Now, keep in mind, it's going to look different no matter what we do. It's going to look different because each time when you're designing, you're going to get a different result. So I'm going to show you how I started with it. So the first thing I did was here we are with this bottom image. I just did the simple like we normally do. Just a few of the enhancements. I brought out the shadows. Notice down in here with the grass. Look at this. Not a whole lot, but it makes a difference. The cool thing about what I'm going to show you is you're going to be able to make changes so it's non-destructive all the way through. All right, so the first step, I downloaded Old Masters. And that, again, is from Carly's collection. And look what it did. It did a beautiful job overlaying on the product, on the image. Now I'm going to come over here to here's my layer property. So what I have to do is this. It's set at 73. Normally it comes in as normal, like this. Well, that's not going to do what I need. So I'm going to experiment with the blend modes, and I just went through. There's multiply, that's what we're going to land on. But here's color, lighten, screen, and then just move on all the way down through. But usually I find the first panel or down in here is where you're going to get the best results. So I'm going to use multiply. So I like what it's doing to the effect. Then, well, it felt nice. Let's do it twice. So I added another texture. And this one here came from a painted one that I had. Now, by the way, how I added these textures is I clicked on layers. And then from here, I just browsed my collection. Now, again, we've talked about this many a times on previous coffee breaks, that to organize your collections, the best way to do it is wherever your photos are stored. So right here, I have it on my D drive under photography. I have another folder called underscore assets. The reason for underscore assets is now I know exactly where all of these assets are being stored. So Carly's example, let's say the overlays. If I click on overlays, I downloaded them from the Skylum Marketplace. And Old Master textures right here. Now, normally, there it is. And normally I do put the person's name by who they created them, because in this way, I could always jump right to it. but that's where I put them. Now I just select it, and then from here I add it to the new layer. All right, so that's how I get the textures or the overlays on top of the image. All right, so I did that one. And that painted effect, that was from Anthony. And then up in here again, I'm going to show this one. And once again, old masters. So now that I have that set, and again, notice I use multiply. I use darken on this one. So let's see the difference. I'm going to hide this again. And here it is. I use darken. 57%. Now look at the difference. See, I keep changing them, but that 57% seemed to work really well. And then, of course, darkened. I didn't like multiply on this. Well, actually, multiply is not too bad. Okay, multiply is not too bad, but I did like what darkened did was it went through and it darkened the darker parts of the image. Lighten was too much, so it was overlay. And so, soft light's not bad either. So actually, so you get to decide between overlay, soft light. In this case, I like darken. All right, and I moved up and show that layer again. There. Now, here's what's really cool. All right. Look at these little streaks right in the image here. If I don't like those streaks, well, let's find which image had that streak. All right. So I'm going to hide this layer. And then I'll hide this layer. And sure enough, it was on this layer right here. There's that streak. Well, I can come over here to erase. And if I don't like it, I'll just erase it. Now watch what it's going to do. Look at that. It didn't affect the image at all. But what it did do is it affect the overlay. So if I don't like something in the image, there's two ways I could hide it. In this case, I want to erase it. And let's say there's another one right over here. So I'm going to get rid of this. And I'll get rid of this here. There we go. And erase. So that's one way of doing it. Another way would be to come up and masking. So I want to mask just that section. In fact, just to make life easier, I'm going to show the masking. Look, you notice what I did here. I did apply that mask and I brushed out in some of these areas here. So once you're done creating it, then what you need to do is just spend time going through what are the areas you like, what are the areas you don't like. Now here's the last section, a sandwich effect. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. So what I did was quite simple. To the bottom layer, just duplicated it. Right click, duplicate the bottom layer. Now, once I duplicate it, we're going to bring it all the way to the top. Let me hide this layer for you. All right, so this is sandwich effect. So here's the sandwich. And let me show these layers here for a moment, just so you can get the idea. And watch what's going to happen. All right, so there's my layer effect, right? Well, on this top layer, what I need to do is remove the background. All I want is the lighthouse and the little house. So background removal, it's going to analyze the image. It's going to find what it sees in my image to get rid of. And in this case, I only want the lighthouse and the house itself included. Now I could go in and just manually paint it, with a mask, but I found this to be much easier. Look at this. Erase. Now watch the magic. When I did that, it's removing the background. So it's only overlaying on top of that lighthouse on the bottom. Now, of course, to make it look presentable, I'm going to lower the opacity way down. Now, why did I do that? Well, look how it's making the edges much sharper. So I'm going to get rid of this layer for a moment because this is the layer I spent a little time with. And show the layer. There it is. Notice it was very subtle. So when we're dealing with this, everything is inch by inch. Now, I mentioned earlier that when I did this here, because it's non-destructive, I can always come down to that bottom layer. And let's say I do want to increase the shadows again. Ready? I want the shadows. Look at that. Look how I'm bringing out the shadows in the bottom of the grass. Maybe the trees. Oh, this tree right here. But you know what? I don't want it on that bottom. See the difference? Before, after. You know what? I want to bring out this tree without affecting that. So, let's mask, brush, paint the effect in. And I'm just going to come in here and apply that shadow we just did to this area here. And look at the softness. Let me change that softness. I want that to be very like a soft edge. There we go. And there I have it. Beautiful. Now let's see the result. Ready? Oh, give it this moment. There we go. 4. Oh, let me get here. Here we go. Ready? Before. Look at this. Ready? After. Here it comes. Look. So, I mean, how cool is that? Is that this is where your creativity can really shine. Now, once you create this, create it as a preset, because if you decide to come back to it another time, or you decide you want to add it to another one of these images, you'll have the good settings all the way through. But remember, if you are going to save it as a preset, make sure that you remove that top layer, because we don't want this to be applied to every image that we use this preset on. I just want these textures right here. All right. So let's look at the big reveal. We went from a simple image. Here we go. From here, let it process it. You went in. There we go. Went from this image here into that creative image here. All right. So I hope you found that very helpful. Now, just to let you know, this is where I got those textures. I went to the Skylum Marketplace site. So Skylum Marketplace, and you just click on that link right there, so it'll take you right to it. And then I searched on overlays. And sure enough, look, here it is. There was Anthony's. I got his here. And then I went through and I found some of Carly's. Now notice, look, you could separate them into different categories. Like right up in here, I did do overlays. So here's my assets. Here it is. Look, skies, LUTs, overlays. Here are the overlays. I only want them, let's say, for Luminar Neo. And then from here, I could just search on it. There we go. Apply it. And then there's a whole slew of stuff you could capture from that. It's great for inspiration. So if you start to wonder, God, I want something special, especially for this Christmas, what can I do? Check out the marketplace. Once again, it's right here. Check that out so you can see just different elements that we have on that, and hopefully that'll spark an interest. And I hope you really found this useful. All right. Now, for those of you that are here today, please stick around for the Ask Me Anything segment, where we could explore more about this topic or any questions you have pertaining to photography. For everyone else, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the next coffee break.